In the many lands that are Europe, all men may share a common heritage of centuries, a common hope for tomorrow. Tradition wills that every year, as nature comes to life again, and rivers swollen high with melted snow impatiently roar down through Europe's valleys, the age-old rites of driving out the winter are repeated. At Binche in Belgium, the swirling snow reluctantly gives way to sunshine before tumultuous throngs who sing and shout and dance the ronde all day. In Switzerland, they tie old winter to the stake like a medieval witch to meet, as gaping crowds look on, a noisy, fiery death. And church bells toll their signal through the deafening din. The old is gone. The wheel has turned. Another cycle ready to begin. Another cycle. Persistent through the air, yet chill with morning frost from ancient villages, where long ago Rome's legions had their camping grounds, the rhythmic sound of fife and drums. Thus, every spring the members of the bourgeoisie are summoned to perform an old communal task, the cultivation of the vineyards. Each man's plot lined up in a row, they work the land with pitchfork and hoe. Together they labor to drum and fight, to bring their vineyards back to life. Really, to know Europe, you must leave its crowded cities, its main highways, and look upon its historic foundations. In Belgium, an ancient fortified bridge controlled shipping once at Tournai, the Spanish forts of Luxembourg, so often occupied by foreign armies. A peaceful village, nestled in a valley under the protection of a feudal castle, long decayed. A medieval Bavarian town, the old defenses still intact. Walls everywhere to break the onslaught of an enemy or of the sea, as in the Netherlands. In France, Greek colonizers founded Antipolis, now called Antibes. They settled in Massilia, now Marseille. Here, through invasions and migrations, cultures and races mixed freely. These men are Mediterranean types. Who is to tell? He is of Greece, or he of Rome or Gaul. empires came and decayed. There are the remnants of their marketplaces, the ruins to their monuments of victory. A Roman aqueduct, an engineering feat that weathered 2,000 years of time. Beneath an arch of triumph, play the descendants of conqueror and vanquished alike, and artisans preserve what their ancestors built. Traditions of the open market, too, have been maintained. Go to a hilltop town in Italy or a hamlet in the German plains, the picture is almost the same. Here they may bring the merchandise in a tractor, and there with an ox cart. But traders everywhere follow the same set of rules. When first you come to market, just look around and walk. Don't be too keen. Stop here and there, but only for small talk. Then make a quick appraisal. And first of all, say no. And if they try to rush you, pretend to let it go. Take all your time to bargain. Feign reluctance for a while. When the deal is closed, don't act too smug. Smart traders never smile. Old symbols of might, of struggle for power, mean little to the peasant of Europe. From generation to generation, he has harked not to the fortunes of war, but to the turns of the season, plodding with slow, steady gait behind his plow, drawn by one horse, or where the ground is heavy, by a team. He may have nothing but the strength of his arms and a hoe, or just a mountain mule to help him with his labor. All the same, the soil must be prepared, the new seed planted. In Germany, a farmer has his family to help him with the setting of potatoes, his staple food. High up in Switzerland, the casting of the mountain rye. In the Camargue of France, transplanting of the rice by stooping rows of men who sing the songs of Spain and Italy. Italy sings of its deep blue waters. Italy sings of its rugged mountains. From here, too, comes beauty. For centuries, men have labored in the quarries of Carrara, measuring the power of their muscle against the stubborn rock, prying it out of the face of the mountain, shaping it slowly with sledge and chisel into block after giant block. To be cautiously eased down the mountain slopes on simple sleds that move on wooden rolls today as in ancient times. Used by great sculptors and builders, the marble of Carrara beautified the face of Rome, of Italy, of Europe. This is the tourist's paradise, the glory that was Rome. Then, driving down Old Appian Way, past ruins and meadows, where faithful shepherds tend their flocks. And then,
di ogni attività politica e religiosa, con il tempio di Giove a nord e a sud del Senato, a nord-est.
On each one of these pedestals there was a statue representing...
Monsieur, dame, l'on va visiter le temple d'Apollon.
Scale rifatte in parte per mancanza di marmo portate via dai traversai.
Weiter, meine Herrschaften, wie ich Ihnen erklärt habe, gehen wir durch den Bogen von Nero zu dem Haus des Fauns. Das ist eine bedeutende Wohnung. Sehr berühmt, die Statuette in der Mitte.
It is the only house in Pompeii which nothing from the house has been removed.
Oh, my feet are killing me.
Look at those beautiful basins that we have into the garden. In lovely statuettes.
Karl, machst du schnell ein Foto davon?
Dass Sie alle zufrieden von meinen Erklärungen waren. Auf Wiederschauen und eine glückliche Reise.
in Sicily, melting pot of ancient Europe, a Doric temple remnant of Segesta. Here Greece met Carthage. Carthage bowed to Rome. In Monreale, church and monastery with Roman tower, Gothic walls, and graced by Moorish archways. Thus mingled styles, and thus produced the fusing of the blood, today's Sicilians. Hardy men like those of Trapani, who worked the salt beds in the shadow of Mount Erice from dawn to dusk. 200,000 tons of salt from the Tyrrhenian Sea must find a market to feed these men from Trapani. Windmills dry the salt beds in the south. Windmills dry the polders of the north. Their graceful wings turn lazily against a soft blue sky, the storybook picture of Holland. But the sun does not shine often. We Netherlanders know when the sea laps gently at the dikes, 'tis our oldest foe. Offshore he lies just waiting, though all be calm today, and if we cannot turn his flank, he'll take our land away. Many battles have been raging through our history, but this is one that never ends, our fight against the sea. With weapons tried and simple, in 1,000 years and more, we've lost and won and lost, but we have held the shore. From Kinderdijk and Sliedrecht, from Urk and Werkendam, to help the country in its fight, we polder boys have come. No fame rewards our battle, no riches our toil. With shoulders bent, our lives are spent to hold a piece of soil. With mats of reed and willow, to blunt the mighty sea, with garlands made from willow twigs, to chain an enemy. Out to the open channel, we tow the floating shield. Where the currents eat the sand away is our battlefield. There wait the heavy barges. There, through a human chain, pass boulders brought from Germany, from Belgium, and from Spain. Work fast, take aim, get ready, but don't attack as yet. When the enemy sleeps at eventide, cut loose and hit his head with mud and sand and dredges. With our naked hands, with rocks thrown at the enemy, we'll hold the Netherlands. Traditions. But we need power. This is the age of machines. New factories mushrooming everywhere. Millions of new wheels must be kept turning. For Europe's growing demands, new sources of energy must be found. High in the Alps of Switzerland is power yet untapped. Here, across a deep gorge between lofty mountains, rises the dam of Grande Distance. From Sion in the Rhone Valley, 6,000 feet below, over 15 miles of cable, come buckets with liquid cement. A half-ton every 30 seconds, day and night. From the glacier bed high above, crushed rock for the mixture to fill the dam. From near and distant glaciers through 60 miles of tunnels blasted through the mountains, the captured runoff waters to fill the gorge behind the dam. Back and forth between the site and loading platform fly the giant buckets to pour 8 million cubic yards of fill into the dam in 8 long years. Slowly rises the dam, slowly the lake, a storehouse of new power. 1,600 million kilowatt hours to be released for the factories of Switzerland, to flow to France and Italy over the network of Europe. Power to build more machines to create more power. Generators, alternators, turbine wheels. Power. From the vast deep mines of Germany and Belgium, coal to produce electricity, coke, and gas. Coal from the Ruhr, upriver to Strasbourg in France, and Basel in Switzerland. Coal cross-country and rails to Luxembourg. From the blast furnaces, viciously hissing, issue the streams of man-made molten lava, poured in well-timed, noisy, clanking, forceful, day and night perennial rhythm. From the the oven to conveyor bucket to converter. Never enough, never an end to the digging and dumping in the ore pits of Sweden, Alsace, and Luxembourg, to the hiss and glow of spewing converter belts. Insatiable seems man's demand for iron and steel. Into the roaring tempering ovens goes the block of steel that will become a piece of pipe, the hunk of metal to be a drive shaft for a diesel engine, the steel beam that will be a rail. Into the ovens and out again, the metals will be shaped by the force of powerful machines. The glass to be given form by the breath of men. In the workshops of Switzerland, the art of making fine precision tools derives from generations of experience and has become tradition, growing from apprentice to journeyman to master craftsman. Products are checked by watchful eyes and scanned by detectors of modern science. Nimble fingers assemble tiny instruments. Gigantic machines make powerful tools. Pile drivers to sink foundations for the buildings of Holland. Earth movers to do the groundwork for new roads and waterways in France. Near the old Roman Pont du Gard, the clatter of concrete liners setting the profile of the new Rhone irrigation canal. Now spring has turned to summer. The grain has turned from green to golden yellow color. The harvest can begin. The grain is threshed. The owners mark up each bag they fill. The chaff goes up the ladder. The grain goes to the mill. The summer is at its height. Crowded are the highways with cars from many countries, vacationers in search of pleasure, adventure, rest. But on the farms, in the factories, the rhythm of work is never broken. More steel is needed to make high-pressure pipes for water, gas, and oil. More steel plate and beams for the busy shipyards of Antwerp, Rotterdam, and Hamburg, where the ways are full with construction work. More steel to make machines for export abroad. At Basel Harbor, where landlocked Switzerland meets France and Germany, goods are transferred to barges to move downriver, joined by many others of the Rhine fleet transporting Europe's finished products over tributaries and canals. Down the Rhine through wind and weather to the ports of northern Europe to transfer their cargoes to seagoing ships, to take on raw stuffs and products from overseas for the return trip. Up the Scheldt to Antwerp, up from the Hoek to Rotterdam, to the waiting refineries. Come the oil tankers to help supply the needs of Europe. Into the big harbor basins, the grain ships from Canada and the Argentine, to be pumped empty in record time in floating elevators. To the chemical plants of Porto Marghera in Italy, salt from Trapani and pyrites from Tuscany for the extraction of purple ore, sulfur, and copper, and phosphates for the making of fertilizers. From the steel plants of the Rhineland, wire and seamless tubes for export overseas. To the docks of Antwerp from the African coast, tropical wood for construction work and furniture makers. Transshipped to Genoa for export abroad comes silk, produced entirely in Italy. From cocoon to silk thread to finished textile. From the Orient to Europe, oil-bearing nuts to be reloaded in bulk, destined for inland processing plants. From South America to Europe, the fruit ships loaded with bananas. Load and unload, ceaselessly move the cranes, fingers of a modern giant, symbols of Europe's trade. Freely, from country to country, across the mountain passes, across the border rivers, chug the trains bearing Europe's products. Freely, past frontier stations speed the trucks transporting Europe's goods. Freely, across the boundaries travel Europe's people, unhindered by old-type formalities. Perhaps not quite as yet, but it must surely come. This is the time for celebration. Out come the costumes, the trumpets and drums. In famous city and in humble hamlet they parade. They wave their banners and pay tribute here with grave dignity, and there with gentle mockery, each in his way. To wisdom, fortitude, and beauty. And to good food and drink. Still are the vineyards, barren of their fruit, as banks of bluish mist rise slowly from the valley. And only here and there the gathering of a tardy crop. Then, in the lengthening shadows of the season, a quiet time for contemplation. And preparation of a harvest yet to come. Thus, through his efforts, man was given nature's best. And now the snow, and nature comes to rest. But this winter too will pass, and everywhere again they work and hope for spring. A spring when frontiers are forgotten, and wars have faded from the memory of living men.